After this video, you will know a little bit more if Colombia could be the right place for you to live in. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam, and at How to Expat we help expats relocate. In this video I just want to share 7 points if you can cope with them, you shouldn't live in Colombia. And this applies more or less generally to Colombia, so not just to one specific region. So let's start with the first point. So the first point is kind of an obvious one here in Colombia. If you're not interested in a new culture, Colombia is not the place for you. So there's not too big of an expat circle already going in the cities or in Colombia in general, like in other places. So if you're not really interested in another culture and don't really want to integrate yourself into a community, it can get hard to really find friends and do things here in Colombia. So if you can't do that, Colombia is not the right place for you. There are other expat destinations in Latin America which are way better, which have a lot of more foreigners in there, and you can have, let's say, US life there in just another country. Then the second point is, if you're not interested at all in learning Spanish, not even at least a little bit, man, Colombia is not the place for you. Of course, there are some areas, touristy areas, let's say El Poblado or in Medellin or Zonate in Bogota or many others, which you could say, yeah, you don't really need Spanish. But other than that, if you really want to move around a little bit, Spanish is quite necessary. It doesn't have to be a lot, but at least showing a little interest in learning Spanish, so you get a couple of words down, a couple of phrases. That's surely necessary here in Colombia. Then, if you have no sense of politeness, this is kind of like, maybe you come from a culture like the US or Germany or different parts like that, where you have a very, very direct culture. And if you have no sense of politeness, let me give you an example. If you write an email to a business or a friend, the email starts always like with hello, let's say Carlos, hope you're having a great day, or something like that. If you just get in and say, I need the documents till tomorrow, regards Sam, that's not gonna cut it here in Colombia. Colombia is a very, very polite country. So if you're kind of the A-type guy, the my way or highway type of guy, yeah, you're gonna have a hard time here in Colombia. You have to get your politeness level up to speed. So a little reminder here, don't forget, if you want to find out if, let's say, Santa Marta, Bogota or Medellin are the right places for you to live in, we offer sneak peek tours where we will show you around the different cities. So you will find out if the city is specific for you. So if you're planning to come to these places, just let us know and we can set you up with a sneak peek package. So if stability is one of your big needs living in another country, and I don't really mean political stability, Colombia is quite fine that way, so yeah, who knows when the next coup or something comes, but yeah, I'm talking more about stability of, let's say, your daily life. So Colombia, every day is an adventure. That can be a pro or that can be a con, depending on what you're looking for. So even just traveling through the city, you can have a great time with a taxi driver, let's say, and have a great conversation, or you can drive like a a-hole, to be honest, and you're gonna have a bad time. So Colombia is all about up and down, up and down. So you have great experiences and you have bad experiences. So if you're just the kind of guy that's like, I want to have it stable and rather, yeah, have a nice lunch and then get back to town, you can, to home, you can do that, but you're gonna miss out, first of all, what Colombia is all about. And on the other hand, Colombia will just force you in these kinds of situations, in amazing situations and situations you're like, oh, that was really tough. So yeah, if stability is a big thing, Colombia may be not the place for you. So if you don't like motorcycles, swerving you and doing everything you can imagine doing on a motorcycle, yeah, Colombia is not the place to be. There are a lot of motorcycles in Colombia, depending on which city, but internally a lot there, so you have to be careful with that. So if you don't like that, Colombia is not the place for you. And that brings me to the next point. If you're thinking about getting a car in Colombia and doing a lot of road trips, and maybe you want to get an RV, we all got different types of questions like that. Colombia is not the place to live. You can make it happen, there is some gray zone, but yeah, usually if you want to get a car in Colombia, you have to get another driver's license. From Colombia, it costs a little bit of money, it takes 20 hours of theory, 20 hours of practice, so it's kind of a hassle, and that are all in Spanish. And then on the other hand, most cities restrict somehow the time, so they call it pico y placa, which you can drive, and the whole cities are more built now because most of the cities in Colombia are quite congested with people and cars, are more and more built for public transport, and kind of the car infrastructure is kind of neglected. Not in the US, where you have a lot of highways, interstates, and that won't be too much the case in Colombia, so it's most of the time not really fun to drive in Colombia. And then the last point is safety. So probably you know that while watching our videos, but it's not as big of a deal as everybody makes it out to be. So you don't get robbed on every street corner or something like that. But it's still an issue. So if you're from New York, yeah, you will have a great time here in Colombia. Most of the cities are not that dangerous, so you already know the deal, what to do and what not to do. But if you're from the countryside, somewhere in the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, or something like that, and you just can walk around, you can leave your bag wherever you want to, that's not the case in Colombia. So you always have to have your head on a swivel. If you can't cope with that, Colombia is not the right place for you. So yeah, that was already it for this video. I hope it helped you get a better idea if Colombia could be the place for you to be an expat in. As I said, if you want us to show you around the city and give you all the little nitty-gritty stuff to know about being an expat, don't forget to have a look on our sneak peek services for your next trip here to Colombia.